I only think this happens because Luke Skywalker says it is time for the Jedi to end. How will they put her character in The Last Jedi? The heritage, lineage, parentage of Rey. There's a lot of things that could happen, that has to happen for that to be the case. Hey guys, my name is Colton Steiner. Thank you for joining me today in another video, as today's going to be a little bit different, as I'm going to be talking about my predictions and theories I think will happen in Star Wars The Last Jedi. So let's just jump right into it. Before we jump into this, I'm actually going to warn all of you that have not seen The Force Awakens that this is probably going to contain spoilers. So if you don't want to watch it, I'd probably go watch The Force Awakens first. But if you don't care, go ahead and watch it. But I did warn you. I want to make that clear. But let's just go right into it. The first thing I want to talk about is who is The Last Jedi. And the person who I think The Last Jedi is Rey. I only think this happens because Luke Skywalker says it is time for the Jedi to end. But somehow she is able to persuade Luke to train her how to use the Force and how to become a Jedi and use it in the right ways. We saw this something similar to this in The Empire Strikes Back, where Yoda was hesitant to train Luke, but Obi-Wan helped persuade Yoda to train him, and I think this will happen here, where Luke will train Rey, but he will be done training Jedi after this. That is why I think she will be the last Jedi, but it could also mean that the last Jedi could also be Kylo Ren, as the last Jedi that Luke trained, and he turned to the dark side, and that may be the last Jedi that Luke trained, and it may be focused on Kylo this movie, because we see a lot of red in the marketing campaign for this, and it may be a Kylo Ren themed movie where we're kind of focused on Kylo Ren and how he is dealing with all of this, how Snoke is using him, what his purpose in all of this is, because he killed his father, Han Solo, in The Force Awakens. So that may be something he's thinking about, but with all this red, I think it's going to be red and white and red and blue, and I think it's going to be focused a lot on Kylo Ren for this movie. Because the first one was a lot about Rey and her trying to find herself, and I think she will find herself in The Last Jedi, but it's something to keep in mind that this may be a focus on Kylo Ren too, not just Rey and Luke. So let's move on to the next theory. My next theory is, who exactly is Snoke? Now, we don't get much of Snoke in The Force Awakens, and to be honest, in episodes 1 through 6, we don't hear anything about him. So he could just be a new character, or he could be a character that was kind of mentioned in Revenge of the Sith. When Anakin and Chancellor Palpatine, or Emperor Palpatine, are talking to one another, they're talking about Emperor Palpatine or Chancellor, whatever you want to call him, because he's both, and at the time he was Chancellor, then Emperor, but disregard that. But anyway, they were talking about Darth Plagueis the Wise, and he was saying how Darth Plagueis could keep the ones he loved from dying, and then his apprentice killed him in his sleep, which we assume to be Darth Sidious, which is Emperor Palpatine. But did he die, though? Because we hear that he died, but other than that, we don't hear anything else. That's all we hear of him. And it's something to keep in mind that he could have learned how to survive death. Not saying it's possible, or this is a really big theory, but it's something to keep in mind because we don't hear anything about Snoke. And with as powerful as we assume Snoke to be, this could be another thing where we bring something from the past episodes of Star Wars that was kind of looked over, and hey, this guy could be this powerful. But something that I don't know how Star Wars fans will react to that, only because of the hatred we have for the prequels. How bad the prequels were. I don't know if the directors want to bring anything from that era back. That's the only reason why I can say they would try and avoid that, but I could see Darth Plagueis being Snoke. Other than that, I don't know who else he would be. There's rumors he could be Jar Jar. Jar Jar Binks could be Snoke. But then again, who else would it be? If you don't have any ideas of who Snoke would be, please let me know in the comments down below. But next up, we will be talking about how The Force Awakens related a lot to A New Hope. Will The Last Jedi relate to Empire Strikes Back? And I think there will be bits and pieces that simulate back to Empire, but in the end, I don't think it will be like it at all. I don't think they will try and have similar circumstances in Empire, in The Last Jedi, and that are related to Empire. Because if The Force Awakens was a lot like A New Hope, only because I think they were just trying to lean back into a new series or a new trilogy, and I think if they didn't come out with something that the fans would like, I think they would get a lot of backlash and not many people excited for the second one. After the failed prequels, you have to have something to gain back the trust of fans. And I think this will be a good thing for them, because now they can, with as popular and successful as The Force Awakens was, I think they have a good chance here to go off and build another movie that can have another storyline and a completely different storyline that the fans might actually like. So they say this one's going to be a lot darker, and be careful about bringing your kids to this. So I'm excited. That might mean a lot more action. I love action. It gets me pumped up, and I think it pumps a lot of people up. So let's just move on to the next theory. A big question is, after the tragic loss of Carrie Fisher, how will they put her character in The Last Jedi? And I think if Carrie Fisher wouldn't have passed, I think they would have been leaning towards killing off Luke Skywalker. But with what happened with Carrie Fisher and her tragic passing, I think they're going to try and kill her off in a respectable way and keep Luke, and then kill Luke off in Episode 9, whatever they title that. Because I don't think it's going to be extremely difficult, almost near impossible, to do anything with Leia in Episode 9, since the actress that plays her isn't alive anymore. And with Luke, I think you got to keep him in, because if you kill off both Skywalkers in the same movie, I think they'll get a lot of backlash from that, and I think a lot of people might not like seeing Luke die, because I think after the loss of Han Solo, someone close to us will die, and I think it'll be either Leia or Luke, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be Leia, only because of what happened with Carrie Fisher and with what they can do with technology. I don't think they'll be able to do anything with her in Episode 9. I think the best thing they can do is have Leia die in a harrowing way, and have Luke die in Episode 9, because I think sooner or later Luke will die, and I think Luke will die like Leia, in a heroic fashion. So the next theory I will talk about is one that has been talked about ever since people saw The Force Awakens, and it is the heritage, lineage, parentage of Rey. And this has been a widely debated topic, and I'm going to have a couple scenarios of who I think could be her parents, her mom or dad. But here we go. The first and obvious choice of who Rey's parents or father is Luke Skywalker. It's a very, very obvious choice that a lot of people have already come to a conclusion with, because it makes the most sense. How she was able to use the Force, and how much power she has, and how powerful the Skywalker family is with the Force. It makes sense. But it's the only reason why people are hesitant for it to be Luke, because it's way too obvious. It could be someone else, and I think a lot of people want it to be someone else, only because you have this anticipation of who her father or parent is. And you have something this big, this climactic, I think you have to go with either someone else or someone that they don't expect. But I wouldn't be surprised. I don't think it would ruin the series or the movie if Luke ends up being her father, because it would make sense, but it'd be a little obvious. Someone who else could be her father or grandfather is Obi-Wan. And I think this could be something with it, because when she's having that Force flashback, she hears, "These are your first steps, Rey," from Alec Guinness. And you hear that in The Force Awakens, and you don't hear anything from Luke. You see Luke, but you just hear Obi-Wan. And I think it could be Obi-Wan's son. As to who that is, we don't know. It could be addressed in The Force Awakens. But other than that, I don't know who else it would be. I think it could be Obi-Wan's son as Rey's father, or Obi-Wan's daughter. It's something. I don't see that happening, because there's a lot of things that could happen that has to happen for that to be the case. But with that being said, there's another option. This option is not really talked about. This option actually really isn't liked at all, only because of the how unpopular it was with fans. And that is her being born by the Force, or her being a reincarnation of Anakin. And I kind of don't like this one either, only because you're just kind of digging up stones from the past and kind of just rebooting another thing. I just don't think having Anakin, a reincarnation of Anakin, or her being born by the Force, would be kind of accepted that well by the fans. And something I would like to see is something we just don't expect. But with that, I want it to be something we don't expect, but something I kind of like too. It's a hard thing to talk about, and it's a hard thing for them to do. Or it could just be not a big issue for the writers. They could have just said, "Oh, her lineage isn't that important." But with that being said, they kind of have made it a big thing of who she doesn't know who she is, where she comes from. Why was she left on Jakku? It's a big question to ask, but it's a big question a lot of fans want to know and want to understand and get the answers. So we will get the answers on Friday when The Last Jedi comes out in theaters. Finally, I think a lot of people are going to be excited for this. I know I am. I've been counting this down ever since I saw The Force Awakens, and I've been keeping up with all these theories, predictions of other people's, and building my mind off them. I got this video. I was inspired to do this video by the Super Carlin brothers, and I kind of want to start doing more videos like this. If you like this video, go ahead and leave a like. If you want to go see more of videos like this, go ahead and leave a like. You can follow me in my social medias. They're down in the description. Hopefully, YouTube doesn't demonetize this video, but who knows anymore. That's the current age of YouTube. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.